Thank you, Madam President. I'll be brief, and I do appreciate Senator Conrad and the service that he provides to us as the chairman of the Budget Committee. And he makes some very good points. It is true that Congress can come back at any time and change the caps that we might put on today. But at least Congress would have to debate that and would have to make a conscious decision that America could watch, and Congress would have to say to America, you know what, we're not going to do what we said we would do. If we don't put caps on this budget, then there's nothing that Congress has to do but adopt another budget resolution. And by the way, I also appreciate the fact that some of the emergency spending and the other games that are used in Congress to get around caps are identified by the chairman as difficult problems. We need to have much less of that gamesmanship and much more following of the rules in our budgeting so that Americans can truly see how much is really spent and how much is being taxed as we moved into these budgets. I just want to give a couple of examples to show what I'm talking about here before I conclude. If we were to look at the fiscal year budget authority for 2009, that's the budget year we just finished up with the omnibus appropriations bill a few weeks back. In 2006, we said that in 2009, we were going to spend $409+ billion. In 2008, in 2007, we didn't get a budget report because we couldn't reach agreement on one. In 2008, we said that that number was going to be $465 billion. In 2009, we actually said it was going to be about $480 billion, or $488 billion. The real number ended up being almost $800 billion. Now, I realize there was some stimulus package money in there and some TARP spending and so forth. But the point is it went up from the projection in 2006 of $409 billion to a reality, even without the TARP and other dollars, of around $500 billion. What about this year that we're talking about right now? The proposed budget for this year, I think, is around $525 billion for non-defense discretionary spending. That's what we're debating on the floor today. Well, in 2006, when we debated the budget there and set our projections, that number was around $409 million. In 2008, $476 million. In 2009, $492 million. And now, as we move forward to the final projection, $525 million. The point I make is that every year Congress says, this is what we're going to spend in the out years. And every time we come back to it, we never follow those requirements. We should put caps on at least the first 2 out years so that when Congress comes back to deliberate again, and when the President submits a budget to us next year, there are fiscal caps for non-defense discretionary spending requiring the restraint that we are promising Americans we will someday get to. Congress has a pattern of spending more and more and more every year. As I've indicated, non-defense discretionary spending has gone up 15 to 17% this last 2 years. And the fact is that it's time for us to adopt this amendment and put caps on the first 3 years of this budget to force some fiscal restraint in Congress. Thank you, Madam President. I yield the floor. Madam President, this amendment is very straightforward. One of the reasons that Congress cannot control its runaway spending is that we always have these 5-year budgets where the tough decisions are made in the out years, and in the first year of the budget, we don't make any tough decisions. This amendment will put a cap on the non-defense discretionary spending for the first 3 years of this budget using the very numbers of the budget. Now, why do we want to do this? Look at this budget. In the first year of this budget, non-defense discretionary spending grows by 7.3%. It's true that in the second and third and out years, that rate of growth is projected to go down to under 2%. But we never get to the second year of any of our budgets because next year we'll come back and we'll start all over. We'll have a budget where all the pain is in the out years and the first year doesn't make any hard choices. We need to support this effort to put some teeth into the budget, put caps on at least the first 3 years of the numbers that this budget proposes.